morning. Happy Friday, all empathic, sensitive souls. I cannot believe it's Friday. I cannot believe I almost forgot I had to do a video this morning. I was stuck back in Thursday. What am I thinking? I don't want to take another day of work. What the heck? How has the week gone for all of you? This week we've been discussing repetitive behaviors. You know, those little sneaky things that we like to do so we don't have to feel and we don't have to engage. And, you know, I have discovered that one of my repetitive behaviors is every single time I go to Costco, when I leave, I must, and it doesn't matter how long the line is, I must have a ice cream and a cup. Why? Why? It's it's not horrible, but it's also not the healthiest, but I could eat a lot of worse things. And I had to giggle to myself as I sat in my car and I ate it and realized that this is a repetitive behavior because every time I go, I have to have that cup of ice cream. So then I thought to myself, well, why? Why do I think I need the ice cream? Well, one, it's excellent and tasty. It's the best ice cream I've had in a long time anywhere. And it is a treat. Part of it is a treat that I drove an hour and a half to get to Costco and do a shopping spree. Part of it is I survived the drive-in because traffic is, it's just crazy. Part of it is I don't get there very often, so it is a nice treat. And I did survive, and I did survive the shopping experience. And it's only $1.99 for a really nice big cup of ice cream. Does that really justify it? No, but as an adult, I can make that executive decision that I'm going to have that ice cream. It's soothing, it's comforting, it's creamy, it's luscious. It doesn't upset my stomach like some other ice creams do. I'm going to stay with this repetitive behavior. I found myself noticing my reaction to other people. And I don't do well in crowds because of all the energy and the emotion. But I also find myself, sometimes I get sucked into the negative reactions or actions, and I have to pull myself back. And the hardest part for me is separating myself enough that I have breathing room. Because when you're in a crowd, it's kind of hard to do that. And I had to acknowledge that, okay, that group of people there, like in the produce section, they're a little, get out of my way. I want to get that bag of apples. They're awfully pushy. And I find I usually give them a look and I step back and say, excuse me, really snottily. And sometimes it catches them up. Like, oh, I'm sorry, because people, I think, are stuck in their own little world. So I have to acknowledge my own feelings about the whole situation. It's not a personal attack, and I've always taken everything as a personal attack. But it's a trigger for me because they're in my space and in my face and not even realizing they're doing it. So then that's another trigger, because how can you not? And then I have to shift my focus. Maybe they just got a phone call and they're running crazy because they got to pick the kids up and they're late. You know, I have to create a storyline. I'm shifting the focus on a personal attack to they're in such a hurry, they're in their own little bubble and can't focus outside of that. Instead of going down the negative path that they're just nasty people. Right? And sometimes they are, but I have to play along. For me to survive, create a storyline. I have to shift my focus from a personal attack to using my empathy that, you know, they could be having a very bad day. I challenge myself with the not so nice storyline, with the okay, there's a reason for their actions. And it helps me be more compassionate. I did a lot of deep breathing because there's moments that it's like, but I got through it. And once I got home, I had some items to pick up for my cousin, so I called and talked to her about it. And she's even noticed the shift and the change in people are so, they go with blinders on and they can't see anything around them. And she goes, it's getting progressively worse. And she goes, it's not just the younger kids. She goes, it's even adults and older people that I think are so focused on survival that they can't see what's going on around them. So we discuss all these intricacies of a shopping spree, and it helps that I'm not alone in my assessment of what occurs. And then, of course, we have to be compassionate to our own selves. I give myself permission to buy that cup of ice cream, one, because it's delicious, two, because, well, it can't be all that bad. It has dairy in it, there's some nutrition in there. Three, gosh darn it, I deserve it. I don't do that very often, so my once a month shopping spree includes a cup of ice cream. But it was interesting to look at this list of how to break that cycle of repetitive behavior. And it wasn't the ice cream I was so worried about, but it was my action and reaction to the people around me. Now, driving back home, that's a whole different ball of wax. But I knew once I got 2 towns out of the big city, all the traffic falls away, and I'm usually pretty much the only person on the road for miles and miles. So I just know I have to get through that initial spurt. And I don't know if people are running that far behind that they have to drive and cut people off. And, you know, traffic is doing 65 and a 55. And that's plenty fast. And there's people that are zooming around in non-passing zones into oncoming traffic, but I don't know why. The 3 minutes that it'll take you longer to get to where you gotta go, is that worth your life and the lives of those around you? But I don't think people see anybody else but themselves. And so I get very frustrated with driving. I totally understand road rage. That I get it, because I get to that point. And I don't think people get the 3 car lengths between when you're doing 60 miles an hour either. Because people will ride right behind you so close that you can't see their headlights. And it's very scary because, you know, in Wisconsin, we have a ton of deer. And there's always weird things that happen. So I keep backing off, backing off, backing off. And it's just, it gets scary. So I have to try to formulate a storyline so I can not be so upset and outraged with the behavior of people. If that makes sense. I hope that all made sense. It is Friday. Enjoy the Friday. Enjoy the weekend coming up. I'm so excited. I am visiting puppies again. I am helping set up Christmas lights. My friends are Mr. and Mrs. Santa, and it is time to bedeck the house and the garage and the yard with their plethora of Christmas lights. And we have to do it now because we never know what the weather is going to be. And Santa and Mrs. Claus, they're kind of starting to get booked up already. The first week of November all the way through January, every weekend I'm puppy sitting because they're busy. And they are on the road from one end to the other end of the state. So I hope that the weather holds. It was a gorgeous day yesterday, which is why I decided to make my crazy grocery run. And then I forgot eggs of all things. But I was focused on the ice cream. So I give myself permission to, we'll just stop at the local grocery store. We're good. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. Get out, enjoy the weather, ground, breathe. Acknowledge your own feelings. You have the right to feel the way you do, and no one can tell you otherwise. But if you want to work through some of those feelings that just aren't setting well in your soul, contact me. Intuitive emotional healer, that's my job. My job is to help you process emotions and get you living the life that you want to live. I'm still working through my own emotions. It's never ending because emotions are always there and different situations crop up. What they say, life is a spiral, goes around and it hits you at a different point in your life and you feel differently about the triggers. And a lot of times you can work through the triggers, and what triggered you before will not trigger you the same way. And then that's something new to work on. So I'm always learning and growing and trying to help and share. And if you need help, let me know. Drop a comment in the comment field, send me an email, send me a direct message. I'm here. I hope you have a great weekend. Bye for now, everyone.